Yo, 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 what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Nerd Ledger. We are your hosts. I'm Cage. That's Chair. We do this podcast every week. We talk about nerd shit. We talk about the latest and greatest in nerd culture, guys. That's like movies. That's like TV. Sometimes video games. Sometimes comic books. News. All sorts of other stuff. So, yeah, that's why we're here. That's what we do.
Everything, dude.
Absolutely. So, anyway, what's been up, sir? How are you?
Good. Just been chilling. Building my magic collection slowly at one pack at a time, basically, because these collector boosters are like a scam. Because, that's the way I can get Transformers cards. But I'm gonna keep buying them. So I just get one pack every Friday when I get paid, and then I go get like a cheesesteak, and then I eat food, and then I go wash my hands, and then pull my cards, and after that I have some candy. Pretty good little Friday.
So you're just self-scamming then?
Yeah, pretty much.
Gotcha.
Because of nostalgia.
Yeah, makes sense. Captain Hot Sauce, my good old pal, he came by yesterday because we were going to go play Modern at a card shop around here. And they were closed.
Oof.
They do Tuesday Modern every Tuesday, and they were closed. And like
the one we went to?
No, it's close to me where I live. Like literally like 5 minutes away. And like so I went there, it's been a couple weeks since I went, so like I didn't go the last 2 weeks, but I went the week before that, and when I went then, the shop had been broken into, so like all their windows were busted and stuff. And they still had the tournament that day. And so it's just odd, like they don't post on social media and stuff. Like they have a Facebook page and whatever, but like they never like update it that much. So like I mean their hours show that they're open, so it's like super awkward to me that they're just like randomly closed on one of their only tournament days. And then it just led to Captain Hot Sauce and myself spinning some wild conspiracy theories about stuff, like obviously things that are probably not true, but it's like, maybe like the business was like going under or something, and like so that's why they're closed. And then it's like, but did they like fake a break-in to get insurance money, but then they couldn't? Like we're just like riffing about it, but yeah. Anyway,
that sounds like a good time to spend with your friend at least.
Yeah, we ended up just playing Modern at home by ourselves with each other.
There you go. How's that dude doing? Last I heard he was driving trucks.
Yeah, he's still driving. He drives semi trucks, does deliveries and stuff.
Good.
I can't speak to the quality of his life, but it could probably be better.
Well, all the best to him.
Yeah, that's true of most people, though, right? Like,
yeah,
we all go through stuff. And I think he's going through it a little bit right now, but I think he's doing well overall. So,
yeah, we live in very uninspiring times, unfortunately.
Ain't that the truth? But yeah, other than that, I talked like on a previous podcast that my wife has started watching the Indiana Jones movies, and we just watched Kingdom of the Crystal Skull over the weekend, and honestly, this is probably a liquid molten take, but not really because you agree with me. But it's actually not even a bad movie.
But the Crystal Skull?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did I say that I hated it?
No. You said you thought it was decent.
Yeah, it was just okay. That's the thing. Like, and but the problem is, it was supposed to be like, blow me out. It was supposed to blow me out of the water. I think that was the main issue to it. Yeah, like it was supposed to blow you out of the water. Harrison Ford was praising the role, and Shia LaBeouf was the main character, and everything was supposed to be amazing. And then it just ended up being really bad. And then they threw aliens at the end for some reason.
See, I don't have a problem with the aliens. Like, I mean, at the end of Raiders of the Lost Ark, literally an ancient religious freaking artifact melted people's faces off. Why are we upset about aliens?
I don't know. I'm not upset about aliens. I'm just thinking it was just kind of random and out of nowhere.
I mean, yeah, in Temple of Doom, this dude is ripping people's hearts out. That's also pretty out of nowhere,
Because he was an evil warlock, bro.
Well, yeah.
You thought the crystal skull was some like another god thing, not like aliens, like a
Well,
thing.
it was. I mean, it's a god to the people who didn't understand what an alien was.
Yeah, well, I just think it probably could have been handled a little
You know what?
better.
I think Indiana Jones is also a victim of its own fandom. Because I honestly, I think in the like if I saw it for the first time as an adult and I had
Mm.
grown up with the other movies, I think it would be incredibly irritating that Shia LaBeouf is his son.
Yeah,
By the way, spoiler warning for anybody who hasn't seen the movie. But I feel like that would be annoying to people who grew up with Indiana Jones, right? Like his first love, Marion from the first movie, like has a son and he's like a grown adult, and it turns out it's Indy's, and you're just like, what the fuck?
yeah, series of events.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. Like I think it's a fine movie. It's still very Indiana Jones in many ways. Like it just I don't know. It doesn't feel like it deviates from the other movies in a great deal. And I think it's just the aliens thing that annoys people. But I don't know. Maybe it's because like the original three are so much more ingrained in like the historical and archaeological aspects of the character, that like have foundation in actual history,
Mm.
and then people might feel like this one doesn't because it's aliens. But like all the stuff about like people in those South America, some of those South American countries, like the Incans and Mayans and whatever, like the way they did do that to their skulls. Like they
Yeah.
did elongate their skulls, like as a practice. And it was really creepy because I was in Chicago many years ago, and I went to like a museum out there, and they have skulls from people from those tribes. Like it's really disturbing to see, uh, like how they kind of mutilated their own like skeletal structure. But
Yeah.
like but I mean, I don't know. I think it's a fine movie. I think it gets a lot of hate and it doesn't deserve all of it.
Yeah. No, I watched it and I was moderately entertained, but I just kind of thought the ending was a little just weird. And, like I don't know, like it's like they started pushing down the gas really hard at the end of the show. Like the thing is, like it should have been all been at once, not like kind of like how it is in the Ark of the Covenant, where they open it and they pay. That's the only time the weird sci-fi shit happens, right? Like it's when they open the box and they close it and everything's like sealed away. And like the aliens, like it's such a
Well,
long put
it's not
out
the
thing.
only time. I mean, every movie has aspects of supernatural elements to them.
Yeah.
Like the second one, like the dude is literally like reaching through you, like not getting any blood on his hands and
Well,
ripping
I
out
guess this comes
hearts.
down to it. Do you think that Indiana Jones is a fantasy or science fiction?
Oh, it's definitely fantasy.
So with the lab, because with the aliens making science fiction, do you think that might have like ruined
Doesn't
some
make it
parts of
science
it?
fiction. Star Wars is fantasy. It has aliens.
Yeah, that's true.
I think I think it comes down to how people define genre. Like for me, fantasy challenges people emotionally, and science fiction challenges people intellectually.
Hmm.
And that's the differentiating factor to me. That's why Star Trek to me is always science fiction, and Star Wars is always fantasy.
Yeah.
So my wife is like being trying to be inconspicuous while
Maybe
uh,
she's doing it to entertain you.
no,
Hold on one
she's
second. I
not.
gotta close my door. One
No,
second.
it's all good. Yeah. Um, but yeah, I think Indiana Jones is. I mean, if you look at the aspects of each film that aren't historical, I mean, the Ark melting people's faces, dudes reaching out and ripping people's hearts out, and then obviously the Holy Grail, right? I mean, giving people eternal life or killing them instantly, like a knight that's like millions of years old, right? Like not millions, but you get what I'm saying, right? Like people can't sit there and say, "Oh well,
I'm back.
Kingdom of the Crystal Skull is unrealistic because it's about aliens." Well, every movie has unrealistic aspects to it, so
Yeah.
just this time it's more of to your point, it's more of a science-y kind of supernatural thing rather than a religious one.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, and I'll watch Dial of Destiny when it's on Disney Plus and whatever. But I haven't heard good things about it. So
We didn't hear good things about Crystal Skull either. So
yeah, but I saw that one in theaters, and I was like 15, 14 when that came out. 13, 14, something like that. You know, I had a lot of other things on my mind at that age.
yeah.
But yeah. Other than that, I don't really know what we're supposed to talk about today.
Yep.
There is some news, but it's all stupid and uninteresting. Aside from, so I guess it's kind of topical because Ahsoka comes out next week. The first 2 episodes come out next Wednesday, so
Yep.
we're probably not gonna watch them next Wednesday. I mean, we're not gonna talk about them next Wednesday because we'll be, doing this, and we won't have had time to watch them. So we'll talk about them the following week probably. But in light of that, the studio that made Clone Wars, that produced it, is shutting down. So I read that today, and I thought that's a little odd. I mean, it was
Well,
probably
it's like the situation in Hollywood is a lot more worse than that they're willing to self-report and that the strikes are actually causing entire studios to collapse and they're just not willing to admit it. That could be part of it too. Like this is such a it's why honestly I think talking about articles or being journalisming on Hollywood is so hard right now because you never know what's blowing up because of the strike or what's related to the strike.
Yeah. Oh, and so that's actually another bit of news too. Is there's an official date for the VFX artists who are trying to unionize for them to go on strike soon as well. But yeah, Lucasfilm announced that it is closing the visual effects and animation studio in Singapore that first produced the Clone Wars animated series. Lucasfilm's Industrial Lights and Magic visual effects animation studio in Singapore first opens its doors in 2004 in order to work on Clone Wars. That VFX team was moved to Singapore's Sandcrawler building with Disney's Southeast Asia offices in 2013. The building was then sold to the Blackstone Group in 2021. Disney has put out a statement about the iconic location closing, saying that the company is, quote, consolidating its global footprint and winding down its Singapore studio due to economic factors affecting the industry. To your point, that could be the strikes, but that could also just be that, inflation and all that stuff as well. So, the animation studio closing will result in about 300 current staffers all losing their jobs. Disney and ILM have addressed the personnel changes in a statement, saying that the company plans to give employees as much notice as possible and offer opportunities to relocate to one of the company's growing studios. There are other ILM offices located in San Francisco, Vancouver, London, Sydney, and Mumbai. The company is also taking steps to help employees find new employment, including holding a targeted job fair with companies identified as having a need for talent with similar skill sets. I'm not going to read the rest of this, but you get what I'm saying. That's pretty standard. I mean, the thing is, companies always have to do these things where they have to make cuts and they have to make tough decisions, and it does affect people's lives, employees, and everybody else. And companies don't have to do it, but it's good of Disney to actually follow through and help, find other positions for some of those employees within the company or help them get positions outside the company, wherever they can. Not a lot of companies do that. But yeah, I think that's a positive, but it's the nature of the game, right?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, these strikes are we've talked about it at some length, but it's gonna continue to affect everything within film and TV and all that other stuff, and and it's gonna we talked about how you're not really gonna feel the impact straight away, but coming up on fall and winter and beginning of 2024, you're gonna see just how much is affected by it.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got a lot of that. So like already, like with Craven being delayed almost a whole year, Deadpool 3, I would guess it's going to be pushed back way later to next year, which will push back the rest of Marvel's slate as well. Everything that you think is going to come out that has a current release date, don't be surprised if it changes. I mean, the Marvels is still slated for November, but again, don't be surprised if that changes. I don't think Blue Beetle's release date is going to change because we're seeing it tomorrow, and that'd be really awkward if it changed now. But yeah, we'll be seeing Blue Beetle tomorrow. But yeah, it's just kind of the reality of it, and it's one of those things that, for some reason, it makes people very angry. They're like, "This is stupid," and blah blah blah, and like I've said it a million times. I'm very disinterested in these strikes, but at the same time, like I don't care. Like it doesn't bother me that people are striking, and it doesn't make me mad that I'm not going to get the things I want to see in theaters for longer or whatever. Things are getting delayed. Like, that's life. Like, you can't control everything, and you shouldn't get mad about things you can't control. So like when I see something gets delayed, I don't read it and go, "Oh my god, this sucks. I'm so mad at all these people." Like, I just go, "Oh, all right." Move on with my life. So
Yeah, and that's really about it. Like, I watch a lot of Japanese anime, so and I play a lot of video games, and both those industries like don't have strikes going on. Like, well, video games might at some point, but you never know. But the anime is never going to because it's Japan, so I don't have to worry about that. And it just I have other media, and you should always have in this day and age, you really should have a diverse like range of like media you consume on the day to day to like keep yourself sane and like entertained and how to take a break and escape to a fantasy world, from the dumb bullshit of the day.
yeah.
So.
Or just create your own stuff too. Like, find other hobbies that don't include media. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard in the modern day, but there's still things you can do. Like, you can go outside and melt in the 110 degrees that it is right now. You can pick up an instrument. You can learn to cook. Yeah, I mean, there's hobbies. There's things to learn and to do.
Whenever 40K, if you have $600.
Yeah. And you should be doing things like that anyway. Like, just in general in life, like, never be afraid to just like try something new, learn something new, like challenge yourself, because hey, you don't want to live just for work and whatever. Like, find things you enjoy in life and actively do those things. So.
Yeah.
Oh no, we're gonna get canceled. I'm telling people what to do. Oh my god. Anyway, you know what is interesting is one of my coworkers is really into Star Wars and like started like getting into it like 4 years ago, and so she's obsessed with it. She's like just rewatches the Clone Wars all the time and always has so much to say about it. And she had asked me about the original Star Wars because for people who don't know, right, when Star Wars first was released, it was released as Star Wars. It wasn't released as Episode 4. It wasn't called A New Hope. It was just called Star Wars. And so she had asked me about that, about the opening crawl originally, like if it said Episode 4 or anything else. And then to follow up, like, what about Empire Strikes Back, right? And so I was just telling her, like, yeah, well, Episode 4, when it came out, was just called Star Wars. The opening crawl, you can find it on YouTube. It just says Star Wars. It doesn't say Episode 4. It doesn't say A New Hope. Like, that didn't even come along until 1981, right after Empire Strikes Back even came out. But Empire Strikes Back original crawl does say Episode 5, right?
Yeah.
And so at the time, I think it's a brilliant marketing thing where it gives this feeling of this great depth and history and richness to the world building. Like, oh, this is like Episode 5. Like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Like, and at the time it didn't really mean anything until the prequels actually came out. Then it had meaning, right?
Yeah.
But I do think it's interesting. And she was like saying, like, she's like, if I was alive back then, I think I would have been so confused. Which is true for some people, but I don't think she would be. I think the reality is, And if you read comments on YouTube or other places from people who were alive back then, if you knew in the 80s that it was episode 4, A New Hope, then that was your badge of honor. That was your sign that to other people that, yeah, I'm really into this stuff and I'm a massive nerd.
Yeah.
Right? Like that was, that's like for us, like we know a bunch of random shit that other people don't, just by the
Oh,
nature
yeah.
of we're nerds. And so
Tons. Yeah.
yeah. But I do think it's interesting, like, and it does speak to the myth of George Lucas having every detail planned out from the get go, right?
Yeah.
Like he never did, and that's incredibly obvious throughout Star Wars, right? Like there are so many little contradictions or things where you're like, there's no way you knew Luke and Leia were brother and sister in Empire. Like you
Yeah.
literally decided that while writing the last movie,
Yeah.
and you most likely decided that because you didn't want him and Han to compete.
Yeah.
It's funny to
It
me.
all worked out though.
It all worked out, yeah. But yeah, I'm really just talking to fill time. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't know what I'm supposed to talk about.
Yeah. Is there any news or any? I don't know. Like that's the problem.
Bro, the
Like
news is dead. Like it's just all like uninteresting stuff. I mean, there's stuff about Star Trek 4, and people might go, "Oh, there's good news." No, it's just Zachary Quinto talking about delays on it. It's probably never going to come out at this point anyway. Who cares?
yeah.
Um, the Marvel's director on if superhero movie fatigue exists. That's a good topic, I suppose, because it's something that like a year ago I would have said not really, but now I would say yeah, it does exist, but I don't think it matters.
Yeah.
But yeah, the director also says yeah, it exists, but the Marvels is different. That's what she said, pretty much. So, we talked about Stephen Amell, his comments on the writers and actors strike and stuff, and apparently it's news now that he's actually picketing with them, and people think he's just doing it to get brownie points or some shit. I don't fucking care, but yeah, he's out there picketing.
We all want brownie points.
I mean, I just want brownies.
Yeah. Same with weed.
Oh yeah. Well, no weed for me. Hold the weed, but you can have
Yeah.
my weed.
Yeah. Perfect.
Also, the Spider-Man No Way Home director describes the MCU trilogy as the origin story for Spider-Man, which of course it is the origin of Spider-Man in the MCU. So I don't know
Yeah.
why that's news. There's going to be a new Illuminati in comics. If you guys don't know who the Illuminati is, it's Black Bolt, Professor X, Marvel Comics, Mr. Fantastic, Iron Man, Beast joins later, Black Panther, Namor. I think that covers the whole team. They were like this secret society of superheroes who took on like, undermining like some of the world's greatest threats and the multiverse's greatest threats. And you can read all about it in New Avengers and by Jonathan Hickman, I think. I'm pretty sure from like 2013, 14, something like that. It's good. It's a good run. But there's going to be a new team. I mean, Thanos will fight them, I guess. I don't fucking know, man. I don't know if people care. People don't read comics anymore. So, here we go. Here's your team. Mr. Fantastic. So, Doctor Strange. Yep. Iron Man. Okay. So, same exact team, except it also now includes Emma Frost and Blue Marvel. I doubt people know who Blue Marvel is. Some people probably know who Emma Frost is. But Emma Frost.
I've heard of Emma Frost. I have no idea who Blue Marvel is though. And I am the not reading comic book public.
Yeah,
So
I mean, Emma Frost is when she was first introduced in comics, she was kind of a villain. She worked like with like the Hellfire Club and like stuff like that. She was an antagonist to the X-Men. Later, redeemed, joined the X-Men. Eventually, became the leader of the X-Men. Married Scott Summers later on, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if they actually got married. They were together, and people might go, "Oh my God, I thought he was with Jean." Yeah, okay, lots of stuff happened, guys. There's a whole history of X-Men comics. I don't have time to go through all of it, but yeah, she's a great character. She was in First Class, and she can turn her skin to diamond. She has telepathy. Very powerful mutant. Um, and then Blue Marvel is a dude, by the way. Uh, People might assume it's a girl because, if you think Miss Marvel or Marvel Girl or whatever from the history of Marvel Comics, you might think it's a girl, but it's not. Blue Marvel is a dude. I think he appeared more recently, like late 2000s, sometime before 2010. And other than that, I don't know almost anything about him. So that's all I know. So I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna make it seem like I'm an expert on Blue Marvel because I'm not. But yeah.
Same.
Oh shit! I forgot. I'm just speedrunning news, guys. I forgot. But yeah, to me the original Illuminati team is much more interesting because it had Black Panther, it had Professor X, it had Black Bolt. Everybody loves Black Bolt. That's a lie. Nobody likes Black Bolt except for me.
Yeah, no, that team was really cool. And the Doctor Strange world we went to.
Oh yeah, they were there. Yeah, I mean a different
Yeah.
version of the team was there. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, hey, they were there. They were Peggy Carter's Captain Britain and a different version of Miss Marvel or Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
So they did replace some of the team members. Namor, he wasn't there. Sad. And who was the other one that wasn't there? Iron Man. He's dead.
Yeah.
But yeah. What else? News. See, I could just read these headlines and you already know that they're boring. That's why I'm skipping most of them. But TMNT, Shredder's Revenge DLC release date. Okay, cool. I mean, the game looked cool. I like it. It looks like a good side scroller. I never played it, so yeah. Riverdale Star compares. Nobody.
I'm getting Baldur's Gate 3 this weekend.
Oh.
Because it does look really good. So I think I might just.
It's out, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It came out last week.
Yeah, I sent you a thing about it, right?
Yeah, you did.
Because you were talking about microtransactions or whatever on a podcast and
Diablo 4 and stuff like that. They just buried in there, bro. It's I don't want to play a game like that. There's no point.
Yeah, and then I saw the Baldur's Gate released a statement pretty much saying we are never gonna have any microtransactions in our shit. Yeah, they said so it's under a frequently asked questions section on their website. It says, are there in-game purchases? They said, no, there are no in-game purchases in our game. We believe in providing a complete and immersive gaming experience without the need for additional purchases. Enjoy the game to its fullest without any additional costs or microtransactions. So that's really cool. The game does look pretty interesting. I'm not I don't play MMORPGs or anything. I know
it's not an MMORPG.
It's not?
No, it's what. Okay, so there's this game called. Well, there's probably a game that came out before it that was the original CRPG. But the best way to describe it, there's this game called Baldur's Gate. The idea was that's the original Baldur's Gate. The idea was they're gonna bring Dungeons and Dragons onto a PC. They're gonna import all the rules and stuff, right? Because every time a character swings, they just roll dice. That's really easy to program into a computer. So that's what Baldur's Gate 3 is. It's just D&D, in a very much it's not freeform. It's not as freeform as most people usually expect D&D, but it is set in the Forgotten Realms, which is a very popular D&D setting, which I could talk about for hours.
Right. There was a magic set of that too.
Yeah, I want to get it. That might be the set booster I get when I need I need a set booster box to organize all these damn cards. I definitely want to get one of the Dungeons and Dragons set boosters because I just love Dungeons and Dragons so much. And I love Forgotten Realms. A lot of the books are sitting there, all the Drizzt novels are sitting there. It's just good stuff.
Yeah, so it's Dungeons and Dragons, but with ogre penises.
No, ogre penises are in Dungeons and Dragons. It's all freeform. That's the thing about Dungeons and Dragons.
Well, I know, but I've seen the character building screens. There's actual demon cocks.
Yeah, because you can the character you're role playing in Dungeons and Dragons technically has a penis, right?
Yeah, but you're not customizing the dick of your character when you're making characters in D&D.
Yeah, you usually draw a bust or you think about what you do in your head. That's the thing. And I think it's just after Cyberpunk 2077, that was just a new thing for the fully immersive, character creation. Well, no, technically Conan started this, Conan Exiles, where they were saying the most, immersive creation ever because we have a dick slider, like it's programmed into the game. Like Cyberpunk 2077 has full nudity too. Like, in Baldur's Gate, just there's like succubi and stuff like that. Like, there's always been adult implications in Dungeons and Dragons. This time, I think that they decided to just really show how adult it can be because, like, there's a lot of weird stuff for Dungeons and Dragons. You have to remember, it was written by a bunch of huge nerds and usually never got laid that much. So, like, Gary Gygax has a wife and he has some kids and stuff, so good for him. But a lot of them were just kind of like creepos that like had a lot of weird fetish stuff. That being said, I don't think this game gets particularly as horny as they do. But there's still like there's like succubi. Like you can apparently in this game you can die from trying to have sex with a succubus, and you shouldn't do that. And in D&D, the fifth edition, they have a rule for doing that for like how they kill characters is through lovemaking. So like it's just that stuff has always been kind of present.
Bro, did you ever play like board games?
Yeah.
Have you ever played Talisman?
No.
It's kind of like D&D. That game popped off. It's crazy. Those games lasted way too long though, like 6 hours sometimes.
Yeah.
But I had fun with Talisman. Anyway, yeah, I don't know about Baldur's Gate. Honestly, it sounds really annoying that you'd have to roll a dice every time you wanted to attack.
Well, you get a bunch of bonuses, and you're supposed to have a good balanced party and stuff like that. That's just the idea,
Yeah, I do not have the patience for that.
I don't. You have the patience for Magic, but not for rolling. You put plenty of dice in Magic the Gathering. What the?
Honestly, I don't really have the patience for Magic either.
No.
Like,
No.
like I'll go play the tournaments or whatever because they only play like 3 rounds or whatever. But even then, I'm like, bro, my games are over in the first 15 minutes. Why is everybody else still playing? Like, hurry the fuck up.
Yeah.
And then like when I play Arena online, like I'll draft, right? I'll do like a draft, because Lord of the Rings set is out. I love Lord of the Rings set, and so I'll draft it, and I'm just like, all right, do I have to play the games though? I don't really want to. Like, I want to play the first game, and then I'm kind of done with it. I don't want to play all the other games. Like, but then I'm pretty decent at drafting, so then I win, and I'm like, bro, I really gotta play 7 fucking games of this shit. I just don't have the patience for it. I could open my client right now and show you. I played 3 games of the last draft I did. Like I could play the rest, but I don't know. I don't have the patience for it. So.
Yeah, I heard that a couple. Like, it just, I don't know. I've always been kind of a strategy gamer, so stuff just like just what I like to do.
Yeah, and Magic is a strategy game, but it's also a very RNG based game. But so are most. Dungeons Dragons is also a lot of almost all RNG.
Well, it's also positioning and stuff like that, and also making sure that your character is you doing the things that it's supposed to be able to do. Like, the thing is, like, when you have DC 15s or something like that, sometimes your character, just based on their own modifiers that they have, like, should be able to pass some DCs, especially when they get into the level 12 to 13 range. Like, you can just automatically meet DCs. So there's stuff like that. It's not all RNG, but swinging sometimes like you can get critical failures and something can happen. Like or you could like roll really low, but at the end of the day, like if your character's like a combat class, and you should automatically have like a +6 or +7 like just on its own. So that way, as long as you roll anything over a 10, you're good to go. Most of the time.
Yeah. I mean, for anybody who doubted how big of nerds we were, I think they probably understand now. They probably left. Probably stopped listening at this point.
I don't blame them because we're just like I said, there's not a lot going on.
Well,
in nerddom.
I mean, there's always stuff going on. It's just like some of the stuff just isn't very interesting. Like, again, like who cares about? Bro, who watches Warrior Nun? Like, did you watch that show? Do you know what it is?
No.
It was a Netflix series that got canceled, and they're making a movie trilogy off of it. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's news apparently. DC Universe Online gets new Justice League Dark episode. Who plays Justice League Online?
Online, I don't even know that. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Well, I mean, it is. Like the cinematics for it were really good back in the day.
Oh, that's right. Now I remember that. I think it was like really hype, and then I remember playing it. It felt like City of Heroes almost.
Yeah. IATSE sets union vote date for Marvel Studios VFX workers. There you go. Um, this is the great news. Oh, Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse producers give release date update because it was pulled from the slate entirely. It was supposed to come out in March. Everybody after the movie was like, "Guys, calm down. It's coming out in March." And everybody else who knew that was a fucking piece of garbage thing at the end of the movie was like, "Yeah, no, it's not." So Across the Spider-Verse writer producers Phil Lord and Chris Miller have given an update on when fans may see the next installment. They spoke to Digital Spy to promote their latest producing effort, Strays. Oh, they're doing Strays. If you guys don't know what Strays is, it's a movie about dogs, where the dogs talk, and the main dog character.
Oh, they're doing Strays 3. That's right. They
Wait,
had
what?
Strays 1. They had a Strays 1 and 2,
Did
and
they?
now they're making Strays 3. Yeah, I
It's
believe so.
it's just called
It's a two.
Strays.
It's two dogs and a cat, right?
No, 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 no.
All right.
It's completely different. Yeah, this is an adult film.
Oh.
Well, not like a sex one. No, no, but like a. So like it's rated R, but it's essentially right. The plot is that dogs are incredibly loyal, like no matter what, right?
Yeah.
And so like there's a dog, and like the trailer is pretty much like, he's like, oh my owner likes to play this game, uh, stay fuck or whatever, where like he drives me out to this random place, drops me off and leaves, and whenever I come home he says fuck, right? Because like he's trying to abandon his dog, but the dog keeps coming back and doesn't know like his owner hates him. And
Yeah.
so like that's kind of like the plot of the movie. And like eventually the dog meets a bunch of stray dogs out in the world when it's trying to get home. And like he's like, oh yeah, my owner loves me. I'm like, he's telling him, and the other dog is like, bro, like your owner is a piece of shit. He left you. He doesn't want you. And he's like,
Huh.
I'm gonna bite his dick off. And that's the whole plot of the movie.
Yeah.
So that came out. That comes out also this weekend. I'll probably end up seeing it with my wife because she wanted to see it. But yeah,
Yeah, I need to go start seeing movies again. Like maybe I'll go see one next week. Um, 'Cause
yeah,
I really want to see Oppenheimer while it's still in theaters at least.
yeah. Yep. Okay, so yeah, they're doing that movie. And during the interview, the duo spoke about the recent announcement that the third animated Spider-Man movie, Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse, was removed from its March 29th, 2024 release date. While Lord and Miller could not give a concrete answer on when the sequel would hit cinemas, we could conclude that this article is a piece of garbage because there's nothing in there. It is pointless. There's nothing to report on. Okay, here's their quote. Those conversations are thankfully above our pay grade, but I can tell you we're already hard at work on it, and we'll take the time it takes to make it great. Thank you.
Mm.
Thank you. A non-story. Much appreciated.
Yeah.
What else? What other non-news articles are there? Oh, there was this whole thing. We talked about it last week. Gal Gadot said that Wonder Woman 3 is going to be made at DC with James Gunn and Peter Safran. And then they didn't say it wasn't happening, but essentially James Gunn said there's no current plans for anything with Wonder Woman. And so now like there's this whole thing of like, is it happening? Is it not happening? Were there actually talks there? Like what happened? But ultimately the reporting is just that it's Wonder Woman 3 is not happening, despite what Gal Gadot said. And it's a very weird thing because like when we talked about last week, she's like, yeah, I talked to them. We're gonna make Wonder Woman 3. More or less, that's what she said. She said, I love portraying Wonder Woman. It's so close and dear to my heart. From what I heard from James and from Peter, is that we're going to develop a Wonder Woman 3 together, right? Which means that it's going to happen. It's just not happening right now. Which then this headline, Wonder Woman 3 is not in development, despite Gal Gadot's comments, doesn't make sense because she didn't say it's in development. She said they were going to develop it. So again, kind of a non-story. James Gunn said something about it. I don't fucking know, but he pretty much just said like there's no plans right now. But
Yeah, this whole freaking James Gunn thing, I'm really starting to get like tired of it. Like I don't know,
Yeah.
like he's so in the news like all the time talking about like his vision, my vision. This isn't my vision. Like and I just
Well,
have I have the worst like most uncanny feeling like it's all gonna go up in fire and flames and
it's
just
for me. It's not that he's putting out the news, right? Like he's literally just engaging with fans on Twitter or
yeah
X, whatever you want to call it now. But like he'll just respond to fans and talk with fans, and then every other nerd media site trade will pick it up. Right, comic book news or comicbook.com, comic book resources, superhero hype, variety, whatever. They'll all pick up his one tweet and report on it. And so like
yeah
that's why he's always in the news, and I think the reason for that is because you know James Gunn is like politics, right? Like there's nobody really like I mean I think we kind of ride the center aisle of these things, but for
mm,
most people it's either James Gunn is an awful terrible pedophile and and Warner Brothers fucked over Zack Snyder and I hate him,
mm,
so that's great, report on him because those people will read every article. Or your James Gunn is the greatest thing to ever grace comic book movies in the history of comic books, and he's so good and he's gonna make DC the best thing imaginable and blah blah blah, and those people are gonna eat it up. So when you have that kind of vitriol or that kind of division on both sides where it's so extreme on both sides,
mm,
of course you're going to report on it because you're going to eat those people up with your reporting, right? Like there are people in the middle, right? People like us who are more fair, and it's like we're kind of wait and see what happens. Like we're not over there fucking gagging on his dick, but we're also not sitting there saying his movies are going to be dog shit and he can't save DC. We're just kind of like we'll wait and see what happens. Like Superman doesn't come out until for like 2 years, so how can we even talk about any of it right now, right? But
yeah
most people, it's like, it's his fault. The Flash sucks, and it's his fault. This is bad and this bad, and then you'll have the people on the other side of Blue Beetle is really good. They'll say, he made it good, even though he came out and said he did almost nothing to that movie. So yeah, it is annoying because it's like literally anytime he tweets, these sites pick it up and write a full fucking article about it.
yep.
So yeah,
I don't know. I think that just again speaks to what you and I have talked about before too. Sometimes like no, these guys used to not be on Twitter all the time, like just stirring the pot, and I think it actually made things a little bit more calm.
yeah, or just like I don't know. It's a weird balance because like nerds are very overly interested in things, right? Which isn't like a bad thing, but like
Mm,
it's almost parasocial in a way where like they feel like they have relationships with the directors and actors of the things they love,
yeah,
where they when they don't. And so like part of that is like, and I think it's always been an element of nerd culture because right we have conventions, we go to the conventions to and a big draw of conventions is celebrities being there and having panels and answering questions for fans, signing pictures for them, or taking pictures with them, signing autographs for them, things like that. And so it's like that makes it feel like I'm your friend, but they're not your friends. Like they don't know you, they don't care about you, and so again, it's a hard line to walk because like part of James Gunn, I think, knows deep down that he's just farming these people. Like these,
yeah,
like he's making them think like I really care about you guys enough to, speak directly to you all the time through Twitter and respond to your questions and be an active part of the community and the fandom, which is great, right? Like it's a very good thing to do, but at the same time, it will give people the impression that like he's your friend and he's not.
yeah,
And yes, we this expands way beyond nerd culture into Twitch and YouTube and everything else where people feel like they're a part of these streamers and YouTubers' lives, and we're not. Like they're not your friends. They don't care about you. You
they
don't
don't know
really know
you.
them. You
Yeah,
don't know their life. You only know what they want to show you. Like so, yeah, it's a phenomenon. But
yeah.
yeah, man, I'm just coming with all the hot takes today.
Oh yeah, 10 out of 10.
Yeah,
Hot take alert all the time.
but yeah, I mean, other than that, like in the world of news and nerd shit, like there's not anything interesting happening, unfortunately. Um, it just is what it is, and for people who think that when there's not interesting nerd stuff happening, that we stop being nerds, it's just not true. We're still
Mhm.
nerds. Like we still love all the nerd shit, right? Like we could waste, another 15 minutes and just talk about Star Wars or Lord of the Rings or anything. We just, we've talked
Well,
about that stuff a lot.
we've talked about that before, and too. Like, we like to do the commentary in this day to day. Usually, we do secondary episodes when we want to talk about something really specific as a nerd topic. But right now,
Yeah.
there's no news because again, we're gonna keep feeling that the crushing weight of the strike is just gonna keep hitting us in waves. That's a
Yeah.
nice story. I'm sticking to it. And eventually it'll just be overwhelming that people realize oh, there's nothing new on TV. Eventually, at some point, we'll see some TV station just have running a graphic that just says no content to air, and then they just go to commercials or something like that. That's the only thing I can think
They're
of.
just gonna farm advertiser revenue.
Yeah, pretty much until advertisers start quitting.
Yeah, eventually it's gonna be like when your signal went out as a kid and it's just the snow or whatever, the static shh all over
Yep.
your screen.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, if I had more time to prepare, I could have done a huge follow up thing on pieces of news that we've reported on or whatever that had no follow up on yet, or what happened to that, what happened with this, stuff maybe about the Old Republic game remake
Mm.
or whatever, from Embracer or whoever the fuck is doing that shit. Um, yeah, and again, things people maybe forgot about, right? It was announced a while ago that there was going to be a Lord of the Rings movie, animated movie called War of the Rohirrim,
Mm.
and that movie's supposed to come out next year. It's
No,
currently slated to come out next year.
still it hasn't been
Currently,
destroyed
yeah,
yet.
it's still
Okay.
slated, but the reality is it probably won't come out next year, or if it does,
Yeah.
it'll get pushed back. It's really interesting because there's still a bunch of movies slated to come out, and it'll be really interesting just to look at that list and just wait to see how much it changes.
Yep.
Because the thing is a release date is just that. It's an estimate by the studio at this point. There's no guarantee to it. It doesn't mean anything. It's just oh, we hope that negotiations are done tomorrow so we can commit to this, right? So
Yep.
and as things get delayed and pushed back, a lot of movies are going to seek certain release windows in certain seasons or around certain times of the year, and when the bigger studios take those dates, those movies will then get moved again to avoid the competition from those bigger studios, right? And so
Yep.
it's gonna be a whole shit show.
Yep.
But it is the reality of it. That's why, right? I think we mentioned this before too, but if you guys remember the last time there was a major strike in Hollywood, what blew up? Reality television.
Mm.
Because you don't need actors and you don't need writers. And that was the final nail in the coffin for music television, right? MTV stopped becoming music television and just became this churning fucking orifice for releasing reality TV, right? The Real World, Jersey Shore. Well, Jersey Shore, was that MTV? I think it was. It was. It
Yeah.
was MTV. Yeah. Catfish and Ghosted and all these other random reality TV shows. Don't be surprised if there's more. I
There's
mean,
some things I see on Twitch that honestly I would feel would consider to be reality TV.
bro, I mean, honestly, Twitch right now, at this point in time, is just XQC's real life drama. And it's very sad. Bro is going through it. But
Yeah, I don't follow any of that dude's drama, but I'm sad to hear he's going through it. But
yeah.
I don't really chime into all of the YouTuber drama. I had a brief exposure with it when the Game Grumps all blew up and stuff like that, and Pro Jared's dick got leaked on the internet. And
Who?
Pro Jared, you remember Pro Jared
No.
is? Yeah, he's part of
I Show
the.
Speed's dick went on the internet today.
Oh man.
You know who I Show Speed is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys can't stop posting their pics everywhere, all over
No,
the
I
internet.
think he was live and he just I don't know the situation. I can't speak on it, but I did read it and people are like, bro, why am I seeing I show Speed's dick on the timeline and shit. It's like,
Yeah.
but yeah. Yeah,
What
but
else?
again, like right, like with even with that, like the streamer drama and YouTuber drama and stuff, like we only
Some kind of
see
drama.
certain parts of people's lives, and like you shouldn't come to conclusions about anything. Like you should just kind of like if you just like the person or like their streams, like enjoy those things and whatever. I don't think it's always it's fair to come to like full blown conclusions about their real life. But hey, do your own thing. do
Yep.
what you like to do. So, um, yeah.
All you can say.
I not nerd related, but I had spoken about my music before. I released an album. You
Yep.
guys can listen to it. It's called I Used to Have Friends. I finished another album since I released that, and I'll release that album eventually. I'm gonna take it a little slower because I feel like sometimes you need build up, right? You need to like release singles and things like that so that people can be interested instead of just releasing everything at once.
Yep.
But I'm already like way ahead of that too, and I've started recording a third album. So I've been working on a lot of music, and I will release a lot of it soon, and I'm very excited about it.
It's awesome.
So yeah, hopefully, I figured out personally that once you stop relying on other people to, uh, work with you, and once you stop making music in hopes that people will support you and for other people, it makes life easier. Just do things for you, and if you don't get support, like who cares? Because it's for you, not for them anyway, right? And
Yep.
it is sad. It is depressing sometimes when like you feel like nobody really cares. But it doesn't matter as much when like you're just happy with what you've done and you do things more for you. So do
Yep.
things for you. Don't use other people as your like motivation, like as far as like show if it helps you to like prove people wrong or whatever, you can use that as motivation. But don't do things for other people.
Yep.
Anyway, I think I've wasted enough time just spewing bullshit. So we'll end here. We'll say goodbye. But hopefully you guys learned something or enjoyed something or whatever. And if not, well, I'm sorry. But
Yeah.
yeah, you can subscribe if you like what you hear on any of the podcast platforms. You can follow on Twitch for live shows every Wednesday 5:30. YouTube, you can subscribe as well. All that good stuff. You can leave a comment on the YouTube video. You can rate and review on any of the podcast platforms. It all helps, and we really appreciate it. So, all right, thanks guys.
Yep.
Much love. Goodbye.
Goodbye.